And so for anyone that's unfamiliar, can you kind of explain exactly what leverage is?
Yeah, this is it's a little bit um intangible at first. So we're going to start with like the idea of a lever in physics is this like simple machine, right? And if you got a lever arm that's two times longer on one side and you push down, it means you can move something shockingly heavy on the other side. And so a single person can move an 800-pound weight off the ground or tip it over a car with like a 20-foot lever. And, the extreme version of this is like, I think it's like a 15-mile long lever. Like you could lift up the Eiffel Tower. And like this is the Archimedes quote, but like it's just math. It's just like compounding is kind of like a simple idea that over a long period of time, a small amount of money can become a shockingly huge amount of money. Along with a long lever, a single, hour of effort can become an incredible amount of money or incredible amount of impact or incredible reach. And there's a lot of different types of levers, and the levers that we have in like modern society are getting longer and longer. So it used to be that in order to reach 100,000 people, you'd have to like collect a ton of people in town halls or visit 100 towns. And now is that we can record one podcast and tweet it, and 100,000 people can listen to this. You can write one, like software is an incredible version of this. So you can write one program, one set of rules, and it can execute 24/7 for years at a time for pennies. And there's individual software programs now that are producing like hundreds of millions of dollars of value, and like that's leverage that comes from just the building encoding like one set of rules into a program that can run. And so the mindset behind leverage is just how do you seek out and find these very asymmetric opportunities? Like where can you spend, you know, 10 or 100 hours working on a project that is going to go work for thousands or tens of thousands of hours on your behalf? Um, I've created this one book, and now hundreds of thousands of people have read it at their own time and place and choosing, and that's truly wild. It's truly wild. And so when Naval says like this is the age of leverage, like the things that we're experiencing are the product of these levers. And when we see, somebody earning tens or hundreds of millions of dollars a year, and we're like, how is that even possible? Like that shock comes from a linear mindset where we don't understand that that person is just working with a huge amount of leverage, and they're having massive impact because of the influence that they're able to have and the resource allocations decisions that they're making.
And so you've decided to build the course of leverage and community as well, course and community, building a mountain of levers. How do you teach leverage? What is this? What is the course going to look like?
Yeah. So it really starts with a mindset, right? So it starts with like showing this mental model, starting from first principles and getting through like, what does it actually feel like to apply that in different situations? How do you make it tangible? Um, and then taking that idea and making it applicable. So whatever you're working on, there is a way to build leverage doing it, whatever your job is. And through that, you can figure out, you start to apply these like frameworks that we give you, right? So like, are you solving this problem in a leveraged way? Is it worth it to solve this problem in a leveraged way? If you can, what are the resources that you have already at your disposal to put against it? If you don't already have resources, what is worth like budgeting for this opportunity? How big could it get? What's the cost that it could support? And then starting to get an idea of like, what's your personal mountain of levers look like, right? Like if you've got a few things to get done and you've got like a few resources to do it, how can you best apply those resources and your time and your attention to get those things done? And then how do you do the work of adding more levers? How do you do the work of extending the levers that you have so that next year or the year after that, when you make the same move, you spend the same hour of effort, you're having 10 times the impact, 10 times the reach, 100 times the impact, 100 times the reach. And most of these forms like extend and compound at relatively low cost. So we have a lot of people who are kind of trying to like, they're like, man, I got a family and a job and a side hustle. And like, I just do not know how to get all of the stuff that I want to get done. And it's like, okay, well, if you can only spend, 4 hours and $400 this week on this project that you have a huge vision for, what's the high leverage thing that you can do that will start to work on your behalf? How do you do the work that gets more work done? And we've got frameworks for this, we've got examples for this, and then we can break it all down into kind of like tools, and show all the different types of leverage and give you this map so that you can lay out everything that you've got and what are your opportunities, where are your challenges, and where are your bottlenecks. Um, and then the community just comes together to kind of support each other and help out. We got the software engineers and doctors and venture capitalists, and everybody's kind of like brings their own expertise to this. And so we start to capture these really interesting case studies of like, well, this person figured out something really incredible, some really incredible way to automate their content creation and distribution. And somebody else like, oh, that's incredibly helpful. Like I want to kind of take that system and apply it to my life. And somebody else is like, well, I figured out how to systematize all of our families like grocery ordering and cooking. And it's like it's a very different domain, right? It's all like just my personal life, but that buys them back 3 or 4 hours a week that they can then put into quality time with their family, or the business that they're trying to build, or whatever it is. So it's a very eclectic group, but it's a lot of fun to see what like comes up from there.
And so the course isn't necessarily teaching like apply like do this to gain leverage. It's giving people the proper mindset to identify the areas of leverage within their own lives and how they then deploy that mindset to create all that leverage.
There's definitely some tactical stuff. So like we start with mindset and framework, and then tactics kind of come out of that. But the world of tactics is so broad that it's impossible to kind of like get all the way into the detail. And so that's where we lean on the community to say like we are all like, I see the role of the course actually in establishing like the shared language and the shared frameworks and the shared kind of understanding of like what we're all trying to do and the tools that are available to us to do it. But then the strict tactics of like, tool to specific context in your life is really like so infinitely big, that we just kind of collect examples and components, and the community like solves sort of helping each other out, and finding like new inspiration and new examples through what everybody else is working on.
And so is the course out now? Are you running it with a beta group or something at the moment? Or what's the status of the course?
The course it's been in beta for maybe 2 months now. It is like, it's weird to say this on a podcast, but it's like quietly launched. Like we're building slowly and steadily, and like I don't want to have like a big bang launch. I just want to kind of like start and keep talking to people who are interested in these ideas and attracted to this community, and if they're the right fit for it, have them join and come along. I've very much designed this to be super flexible and available to anybody in the world. So we don't have like a kickoff date and an end date and anything required. Like the course material is all self-serve. The small sort of study groups are asynchronous, and with the community is like sort of flexible opt-in, opt-out. So I want this to be available for you when it's applicable for you, and never be a burden or onerous or stressful. So yeah, if you're interested, there's ejorgenson.com/leverage. You can start to read about it. I've got tweet threads and blog posts and stuff about more about the concept of leverage and how to kind of get your head around it, and whether it's applicable for you and what you're interested in doing at the time, and whether it's the right solution for the challenges that you've got. But yeah, if it is and you're interested, like you can DM me or email me or check out the site and read more about it.
What's some of the early feedback been like from the students going through the course?
It's really it's been good in a way that's surprisingly diverse. Like there are people who totally grok this idea and they come in and they're like, I totally understand that this idea is important and I don't know how to apply it. And like, I'm here to close the gap between idea and application in my life. Um, and they're like, I got this. I understood it to a 2 out of 10, and like, you've got me to a 6 out of 10. And now I feel like I'm on the path to the rest of it. Some people join and they're like, I sense that this is important, but I don't understand it. And I want your help to like flesh out this idea in my head and help me get started towards the path. And some of those people are like not even, they're like very normal jobs. And they're like, I've seen what leveraged winning looks like and why some of my friends are like having these crazy outsized outcomes. And I don't really understand why. And like, that's, like as I've started to find my way through this idea and through this book, like that, the more question I get is kind of like, I understand leverage is important, but I don't know what to do about it. And I hope that this course is an answer to that. And I hope that the community brings together all these people who are either understanding that or trying to understand that, and sort of build a new playbook almost for how to kind of use this new idea. Like, Warren Buffett's Warren Buffett because he understood compounding at a very early age and leaned into it like an insane amount. And the people who are going to dominate the next decades and century are the people who are going to understand leverage and lean into it the most fully. And I think, you couldn't have said the age of leverage any better than Naval introduced us to it in the book. But if that's not already obvious, it's about to get a lot more obvious.
And so what's kind of the long-term vision for the course?
It's been very exciting to build a course because I love online education. I love education generally. Um, and so I like, in the same way that like I was excited to write a book, and when I wrote it, I wanted to play with like the medium of a book. I wanted to play with the medium of a course too. And so I think we have all these amazing tools, through video and audio and graphics and stuff to like build this transformative educational experience. And I think we can really thread a needle between like creating something that is flexible and universally accessible and an evergreen, right? Like I think these ideas are really are very evergreen and can be useful for people in 5 years just as they are today. So I wanted this course to be so I have like that book ethos to it, right? Like in the same way that you'll pick up that same book in 5 years and like still get something new out of it. I want people to revisit the course in 5 years and still get something new out of it and still be applying those ideas and hopefully still be friends with the people they met in there and still have that like alumni group working together to kind of like coach each other and learn from each other and continue to build these things. Um, and I hope that we can find this kind of sweet spot between, some of the lower price courses are just like lonely flat experiences. You're just kind of like watching videos and like working hard by yourself, and like it's better than not getting access to that incredible material. But it's not quite the same experience. And some of the really expensive high end courses are like going to college online, and it's like, as a really pricey, this better be like totally life changing. And so I think what we can do is find this like sweet spot where, for a few $100, we are introducing people to a community and new friendships and a new system of thought, and giving them access to this really valuable material that we can continue to reinvest in and develop. And so I think in a few years we'll have, a community of thousands of people, this robust library. We'll continue to upgrade the like case studies and the level of quality of the content and the professionalism and the sort of polish, like the production quality of the media. I'm just really excited to like see what it turns into. And I think like the community that we're attracting so far has been super, super exciting. And I got to meet such fun people, and they're all excited to get to know each other. And yeah, it's very fulfilling. But it's my first course, and I'm really um, thrilled to be like able to kind of put that out there and like play with this. But it's like a living lab, right? It's like changing every day, which is it's so much different from working on the book.